This video was made in partnership with Nuvi, who are just as obsessed with movies as we are.
Hey guys, welcome to WatchMojo. I am Phoebe, and today I'm joined by my colleagues and friends, Matt, Noah, and Liam, and we're doing something extra special. We are definitively ranking, based on our own personal opinions, all of the Quentin Tarantino movies. So it should be a wild ride.
You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
This video is made in partnership with Nuvi, who are just as obsessed with movies as we are. Head over to Nuvi.com for a closer look at the movies everyone's talking about, plus trailers, tickets, games, and more.
Don't be a...
So we watched all of the Quentin Tarantino movies together. We laughed, we cried, but most importantly, we ranked. Now, we're not all on the same page about this rank, right?
No.
So I think there's gonna be a little fighting on this.
There's a samurai sword back there, so I think one of you guys are getting your head chopped off.
Stab. I have the power of Cliff Booth on my side, so I'm like very excited.
All right, and on that note, let's get started.
Anybody accidentally kills anybody in a fight, they go to jail. It's called manslaughter.
Number 9, The Hateful Eight.
This is the one that we all collectively put last.
Yeah.
I think it's maybe his most forgettable movie. I almost always forget it exists.
I feel like people get really mad at The Hateful Eight because it's kind of perceived as being really boring, but I think there's a lot of really fun stuff in there. Like, it's got a bunch of really good performances. Like, all of Tarantino's like famous heavy hitters are in this movie.
I love the aesthetic of this movie.
Oh, for sure.
I love the setting. I love it all. I hate this movie though.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it
sucks.
either.
When I
Yeah,
heard
it sucks.
when I heard that Quentin Tarantino was not only following up Django with another Western, but like producing or directing a movie that already the screenplay had leaked, I was like,
Yeah,
why
which is
why
weird.
even bother?
very crazy
Yeah.
for a Tarantino movie too.
But
Usually that never happens.
I feel like this movie gets a lot of flack, but I think there really is
Deservedly
like,
so.
Hey.
I feel like it really, really falls short. It doesn't live up to the expectation it sets. And you know, that whole big third act, explosive, violent, was just like really, really a letdown.
I think it's really fun. I think it's a fun movie.
Would you have put it higher?
I probably would have. I mean, we put it at number 9. I think I would arguably even put it as high as like 7 or 6. You know, I'm not. Listen.
Why are you on this panel?
Number 8, Death Proof. Now, you feel strongly about this.
I feel very
Fight!
strongly about this.
Fight!
Okay, Death Proof for me is Tarantino at his like most raw form, and this is like the movie that I feel like he's probably always wanted to make. He's just like one of those movies that has always like pushed forward his like grindhouse aesthetics. This is one of my favorite Tarantino movies.
That's a very interesting statement.
That is a nuclear take.
Yeah.
You can tell that a lot about this movie is really near and dear to Quentin Tarantino's heart. Like, there's a lot of passion, and I can definitely appreciate that. But in terms of my own personal taste, it's a bit too trashy and
Yes.
like
I love
you know,
that,
and
though.
you know, and I can't appreciate that. It's a fun movie. It's really fun.
When you stack it up to all the other movies that come on our list, it's just a bit forgettable.
But I think to put it this low, I think
It's
especially-
perfect.
No, I think
Come on,
This is the perfect rank!
I think this should be at least a few spots higher on our collective rank. I don't know
Okay.
why I even let you guys put it this low.
No, see,
Let us.
Oh, shit. Watch out.
Before we start killing each other, let's get to number 7. All right, so coming in at number 7, we have Jackie Brown. Now, this is a movie that I had not seen before until we all watched it together. And I had some mixed feelings about it, but the longer I stew on it, the better I feel.
I love Jackie Brown for the idea that, like, at this point in 1997, Quentin Tarantino had done Reservoir Dogs, he had done Pulp Fiction, 2 like pretty, you know, unorthodox crime thrillers. So now he's like the hottest director in Hollywood, and what does he choose to do? He does like the most traditional crime drama that he could do. And I feel like I might be underselling it a little bit, but like he makes it so compelling. It's the story of a woman who's in a really tough spot and like gets out of it using her wits. I love it. I love the character of Jackie Brown.
She
Man.
is so
She's got them
ripped.
so
such a
bad.
good
I love
character.
it.
Yeah.
She's brilliant. Oh my god.
The
Payoff.
pace is slow, but it's a good pace.
Yeah.
And like you said, the performances are amazing. Samuel L. Jackson, the more I think about it, he's phenomenal in
In
that.
my opinion, one of the all-time movie villains. He's so good.
All-time
Or
movie
Roby.
hair, man.
Oh my
All-time
gosh,
movie
I
come on.
keep,
hair.
ever since I watched it, I keep having nightmares that I have that hair.
I love that this dude's like such a hard gangster, like gun salesman, whatever, and he always just drinks a screwdriver.
Yeah.
Vodka and
Yeah.
orange juice.
I do agree that it has some pacing issues for me, which I think come into play for a lot of Tarantino movies, like the Hateful Eight also had that sort of weird pacing issue where everything happens in the third act. But I do really like this movie, and the more that I think about it, I like the character. I like the way that things turn out for her. So it's a great movie.
Ray, remember when you said you hope you get him before he gets me? Mm-hmm. Well, you did.
The internet and Tarantino fans in general love this movie. So the only reason I was kind of a little worried about putting it that low is that people are gonna freak out on us.
There's a lot of affection
I'm
for
not
Jackie
afraid
Brown.
of you guys,
Yeah.
so I don't really care.
We're
Let's
the
move on.
experts.
Let's move on to number 6. Number 6, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. We just saw this together last night, so the feelings are high.
Yeah.
Let's get
Yeah.
right into it. What did you think? What did you guys think?
I really love this movie. I thought it was really good. I know, Liam, you were not exactly super high on it once
I
you
liked
first
it.
saw it. I know, yeah.
liked it.
But I mean,
You should more than like it. You should more than like it.
I feel the same way that you feel. I liked it. Yeah,
It is slow, and I can see why a lot of people wouldn't like it. I just love the world of the 60s California, like dreamy kind of aesthetic.
Damon Harriman from Mindhunter, who also played Charles Manson
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. I love that she's like, oh, you'll meet Charlie. Like, Charlie.
Creeps me out, man.
I feel the same way about this movie that I did about The Hateful Eight, in that it sort of squanders that beautiful aesthetic.
Right.
We have like this amazing like LA vibes. It's very summery.
Did you
know
say
what I mean?
squander?
Yeah, I feel like
Squander?
it's
Oh
kind of
my
like it's
God.
just the backdrop for no story. There's no story in this movie.
I don't,
like,
I'm not
why
tied
is-
to story though. I
Yeah,
don't
that's
care
it,
about
exactly.
story.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's cool because you just saw Leo basically for like 2 hours just do these short Western films.
Yeah,
and I was
it's
like,
like
you
a
know what?
series of
I'm
short
all
movies.
about that. It was so fun.
Was it you that said that Tarantino tricked us all into watching a Western?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was thinking about
Yeah.
that.
Another Nazi scene. I love it.
Al Pacino
Yeah.
playing a variation on his character from Jack and Jill.
Sauerkraut.
The laugh, come on.
And then the dramatic zoom. I love it.
I also think this might
Yeah.
be his most violent, even though it's also his least violent, because like there isn't much violence in this
The
movie, but when it
scale of the
comes, it
violence
is
is
like
smaller.
it is.
Yeah.
I couldn't look. Like I find
No.
all of his other movies are over the top in a way that like, oh, like that's like obviously fake. This movie, I was like, oh my god,
Seriously,
I can't even.
I
look
was
at this.
able to sit through Midsommar
Yeah.
and be like, oh, you know, I can take this. And this I had to watch through my fingers.
Yeah, we were
So-
both like, we were sitting together, we were both like looking at each other, being like, I can't look, I can't look.
Hey! You're Rick f***ing Dalton. Don't you forget it.
I've never been a Leo lover. I found he was better in this movie than I've seen him ever be.
Wow, there you go.
Especially with like
There
the
you go.
the
He's
little
very
like,
good at
vocal
it.
There you go.
twitches were perfect. He kind of like he was playing Leo, but he wasn't, which
Yeah.
I find is what he falls into a little bit. But I thought he was great. That being said, Brad Pitt.
That's it.
He was really
yeah.
funny in
Acted
this movie. I
circles
found
around
Leonardo DiCaprio was really funny in this movie.
Yeah.
And I
but
think-
I just
yeah.
felt like the Cliff Booth character was like, he was just so like real. And I think that that's something that I really like about Quentin Tarantino movies, is that the dialogue feels like it would be going on in real life. It never feels like you're watching
Yeah,
a movie. It feels
totally.
like you're watching people talk in front of you. All right, coming in at number 5, Django Unchained. This is a pretty controversial movie, and I don't think we were all on the same page at this being so high on the list.
No. I like Django. I like this movie a lot. It's really fun, while also being extremely heavy for obvious reasons. But you know, when your third act involves a shootout set to a James Brown Tupac mashup set in the 1850s or 1840s, you know, I think this is clearly Quentin Tarantino having a bit of revisionist history fun, and I can't be mad at that.
This may be controversial, but I think this movie is a bit of like a greatest hits Tarantino. You know,
Yeah.
like it's a little predictable in like what it does stylistically. I
Yeah.
think.
Yes. Yes.
In what should have been an Oscar-nominated role.
Meh.
In my
Honestly-
opinion,
honestly,
yes.
meh.
Was he not
he
nominated
was.
for an Oscar?
No,
Yeah,
no, Golden Globe.
He won the National Board of Review that year for
Yeah.
Best Supporting Actor, but was not nominated.
Is
really, really
Leo
good.
not just playing himself though? I mean, like the suave.
Right, but he has an
aspects
accent,
of himself.
though.
That's
He has an
problematic.
accent.
I feel like this,
No. Playing
this,
himself.
this performance has been grossly overinflated.
No, I'm gonna stop you.
It's a great performance,
No.
but it's like the whole thing. Ooh, he broke his
I knew
head,
it.
and
I
there's
knew
blood all over her face. What if he had a bloodborne illness? That is disgusting. I do not.
That's why I
believe
doubt the
actually
veracity of that
happened.
story.
Hey! Now lay your palm flat on that tabletop. If you lift those palms off that turtle shell tabletop, Mr. Pooch is gonna let loose with both barrels that sawed off.
What do you think he's trying to say there?
And then the John Legend song.
Oh my god, this is a really underrated
It's
song.
kind of weird that he put like modern music in this movie.
It's Quentin Tarantino, though.
He can do whatever he wants.
Listen, he's not Baz Luhrmann putting Kanye and Jay-Z in the Great Gatsby.
I was gonna say.
I agree
Yeah.
with this in the ranking.
Yeah.
I think this is fair.
I feel
Top,
like
it
this
should be
is-
higher, at least one spot
No,
higher.
I think
but
this is a great spot for it. I feel very comfortable with it at number 5 because it's a fun movie, but the next movie is more fun. So let's get to it. All right, coming in hot at number 4. Reservoir Dogs.
Nice,
That's
nailed
a
it.
tough one to say.
Is it?
How do we feel about this?
I'm just gonna come out the gate and say it. This is my favorite Tarantino movie. I love this movie. It sets up all the things that we would come to know and love from Tarantino movies, from the non-linear storytelling to the kind of extreme violence, the pop culture laden dialogue, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And again, this is a movie that's mostly just people talking in rooms. That's just what's great about this movie, like the opening conversation.
yeah.
It's all the sort of small elements that we overlook in other movies.
Yeah.
Just like guys being petty, right? Who cares? Really, who cares?
What I find like so great about Tarantino movies is that the dialogue is so real.
Yeah. I was
it
just gonna
feels
say,
so
yeah.
real. It feels like a conversation that would really be going on
Exactly.
between
Yeah,
people.
and it's like so
Like,
distinctly his style.
Wouldn't
too.
you be
He's
bummed
just-
out if your name was Mr. Brown? He encapsulates that really
Yeah.
well.
I find it's more of him kind of like dipping his toes into what would become like the
Right,
whole
yeah.
Tarantino aesthetic and style, because you look at like his later films and he definitely does take, the pop culture laden kind of conversation, and he takes the violence, but he like amplifies it,
Right, yeah.
So that's why like this is obviously an iconic movie. In the grand scheme of things, I guess I don't mind it being number 4.
There was probably a time where this would have been 1 or 2
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
a
Oh,
list
for
like
sure.
this,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like this movie I remember in high school when I first saw it. This is the first Tarantino movie I think I saw. It was just like, there was like a kind of a cult around it, similar to Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of been forgotten in time. Like,
Yeah.
people don't think of this movie as much anymore. Tim Roth isn't in enough Tarantino movies, in my opinion.
Seriously.
I
In
agree
this
with that.
and like in Pulp Fiction, he like comes to play in both movies. He does not mess around
Right.
at all.
Yeah.
Tim Roth probably
Oh my
gives
gosh.
the best
Yeah,
performance
and that's another thing.
ever
great
in a
performances.
Tarantino movie.
Whoa.
And that's saying that with Sam Jackson in Pulp Fiction.
I'm saying that with
Oh.
two
Tim Roth, this
Leonardo
movie is
DiCaprio
so
movies
good.
too. Come
yeah,
on. Come on.
I'm getting that samurai sword.
All right, guys, stop fighting. We're going to number 3. All right, coming in at number 3, we got Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. For our purposes, we are including this as one film. Tarantino also would like us to consider this
Yes.
as one film, so we will be giving him that
He'll-
today.
He'll literally
Yeah.
come to our house and murder us.
He'll kill Bill. if
He will
you know
talk
what
us
I
to
mean.
death.
He'll kill us.
Look at
This
the colors
is like
too.
this is like I've always said that I love Tarantino at his most stylistic, and like
I was gonna. This is like.
oh my god,
This is when kind of like the stylistic kitsch kind of.
yeah.
You
I
know,
have
he started to
chills. I have-
evolve a little bit. The first time I saw this movie, I watched both parts back to back. I was pretty young. I was maybe like 14 or 15.
That's young.
I was young, but I remember
Parental
thinking like, I hate this movie.
What?
I remember
Whoa.
thinking this garbage. It's just like too stylized. Her like acrobatics are like
No.
out of this world. I couldn't get into it, but that was kind of before I really got into movies and kind of appreciated, directors with crazy style.
so tense. Oh! I'm watching horror movies here, Phoebe.
I know, but I like it. I like it. Sorry.
I think these movies are awesome. That's all I gotta
too,
say.
yeah.
More so, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously more so the first one is awesome, and then the second one, this might be why I kind of came to bat for the Hateful Eight, is I don't really mind the slower, kind of more meditative. kind of pace of the second.
I don't either,
part.
but that's just really bad. But please do continue.
I love it. I think it's like the perfect antithesis of what like the first Kill Bill movie is.
It's fun. This is a fun movie.
It's really, really fun. It's very like musical and kind of like, fun and colorful.
It's a musical with martial arts, basically, is what this is.
All right, coming in at number 2, we have Pulp Fiction. Now, we know a lot of you are going to be unhappy about this.
Please don't be mad at us.
We have something to say. We don't care. So,
I think this was also where we all agreed that it was number 2.
Yeah,
No, I was ready to have like some fights about this, but there are none.
I think I talked to people about this movie, and I think everyone has kind of the same reaction when they watch it first, which is like, I don't know what I just watched. Like, I don't know, none of it makes sense the first time you watch it. I know when I first watched it, I was like, I didn't get it. I had to watch it a second and third time to like understand how everything pieces together. I wonder how many actors have used this as like their monologue.
That's a good point.
In like improv classes and stuff.
Yeah, this is Jeff reading for the part
directors
of.
would be like this too, like.
And if they do the walk-in-isms,
watch. His ass.
Just because it's somebody's first foray or their it's kind of like the first movie of its kind, like does that make it the best movie in the catalog?
I was struck by how strange this movie is. It's so bizarre. Royale with cheese. Fake biblical verses. Just really, and actually, let's talk about that. Sam Jackson. Come on, the best Tarantino character.
Yeah, standout of the movie.
Tim Roth.
Oh, that's
Tim
Roth. I gotta go with the popular.
Underrated.
What's in the case?
My boss's dirty laundry.
Your boss makes you do his laundry?
When he wants it clean.
Sounds like a shit job.
Funny, I was thinking the same thing.
Open it.
Afraid I can't do that.
Yeah, it's just a movie that makes the monotony of everyday life seem really interesting. We have these characters with so much interiority, like Bruce Willis, Butch Coolidge. Just that relationship is so cool to me. Watching it this time, that's what really struck me.
Nobody ever talks about that.
No one talks about Butch Coolidge.
Like I remember one of the first times I watched this movie, I remember thinking that section of the movie was so boring. But it's something I think about so much because like nobody talks about that part of the movie. But it's just like this weird dialogue about like getting pregnant.
That's a scene that's always stood out to me too. It's like something that I remember fondly when I look back at the first time I watched this movie, just being like.
And
it's like jelly bean. Oh man, shooketh.
Oh, poor Marvin.
I know.
Poor Marvin. This is the second time something terrible has happened to a Quentin Tarantino character named Marvin.
Oh my god.
Wow, you did
You
research.
just blew this whole thing
You
wide
lied to me.
open.
You were like, I'm going into this cold as well. You liar.
Now let's unveil our highly anticipated number 1 pick.
What could it be?
What could it be? And finally, our number 1 pick, Inglourious Basterds. I feel so good about this number 1 pick. You don't like my heart is full.
I think Liam and I are kind of.
Yeah, you guys are not pleased. I hate myself for agreeing with Phoebe on this, but we're both incredibly jazzed that Inglourious Basterds is number 1.
Like, this
I give it
movie-
100 Nazi scalps out of 100.
Inglourious Basterds, like I know that we just said that I didn't put it number 1 on my personal list, but this is a movie that is just so solid and so like it's almost like his most ambitious movie, I think.
Yeah.
And just like he delivered on every front.
It has a lot on its mind, this movie. There's a lot of ideas about it. It's about the power of filmmaking. It's about, not to kind
It's
of
the biggest weapon.
nerd out too much, but it's kind of about the power that film has, the power of myth making. And Tarantino seemingly kind of reflecting on his own kind of role in being blamed for sort of pop culture violence and things like that.
Right. Yeah, that's really interesting.
Totally.
It's something I was thinking about when I was rewatching this. I've loved this movie for different reasons for a long time. This was my dad's favorite movie, so it's sentimental to me for that.
That was such a cool fact. I was like, ooh, film is like very combustible fire creative.
And we're gonna get Samuel Jackson explaining it to us in a second. Yeah.
You can't have a Tarantino movie without.
Not in some capacity.
I mean, Death Proof.
Oh, and it's your favorite one. Come on.
This was actually the first Quentin Tarantino movie that I ever watched. I was pretty late to the game.
Wow.
But I remember watching it and being so compelled by that opening scene with Christoph Waltz. This movie introduced Christoph Waltz to, the American. Don't laugh at me. I
He's
love
your Leo,
him.
right?
No, he's my Leo, okay? Like, he is incredible in this movie. And I think, it's just such a compelling thing that I'm literally on the edge of my seat. My heart is pounding for a character that I don't know this character yet. walking on floorboards and these poor people underneath.
Yeah.
And it's just everything about that scene is
Yep.
perfect. What differentiates this movie from some of the other movies on this list is that it's action start to finish. There's always something happening. There's always something exciting going on. There's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Whereas in some of the other movies that are great in their own way, it's kind of slow, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
Like there's so much tension in this scene. Like as like it just like mounts and mounts as he kind of realizes that they're lying.
You think so?
Yeah,
I think he
find-
knows the whole time, and he's just
I know. I
100%.
well, maybe not realizing, but like it
Yeah.
just
I love
keeps
it.
going up
Like,
what
and
a
up
creep.
and up and up.
He's just like, these guys are idiots. He's like, who do they think I am? Like, I know what they're doing.
Look at Eli Roth's face. For me, the reason that I didn't put this number one, like I never really had an attachment to this movie because I didn't see it when it came out. I saw it years after, and I was just kind of like, it was around the time that I was discovering Tarantino, and it was just kind of like another movie to watch. And I wish I had given it more attention right off the bat, and I probably would have put it number one if I had paid that much more attention. I mean, in revisiting this, I fell in love with it even more.
Yeah.
And I would put it probably top 3.
Yeah,
personally.
same probably. Yeah.
I put a top 1, and that's
Yeah,
where
and
it
I'm
is.
not budging on that, so we won. All right, guys, that's it for us. This is the definitive Tarantino ranking based on our personal opinions, so no one else's list matters, right?
Nope.
So for me, Phoebe, Matt, Noah, and Liam, thank you guys so much for watching. See you later.
This video was made in partnership with Newbie, who are just as obsessed with movies as we are.